What's up, my fellow creators? Welcome, guys. I hope you're having a phenomenally blessed day. Thank you for joining me in my house of discussion. Please like this video, share this video, subscribe to my channel, set that notification bell down below so you always know when the next video does go live. Check out my channel for other content, for pick a card readings, zodiac readings, positivity, and more. I'm always coming out with new stuff. And yeah, with that being said, I have a very deeply important conversation to talk to you guys about today. I'm looking a little wild. I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm just going to go with it. So get the lioness in. So guys, I want to talk to you guys today about dealing with people who don't believe in you. This is hard. This has been probably one of the most challenging things for me in my own journey, because a lot of people right now we're getting inundated with a lot of individuals who have a lot of special abilities, psychic mediums, people who have visions, people who can predict the future, people who can do these things, right? And I know I always talk about I can't predict the future, and really people who do predict the future, it's because there's something that's set in action that cannot change, right? And so that's why you get a lot of people who will predict these, huge catastrophic events and stuff like that. And sometimes they'll see the future with a family member or a friend or somebody that they care about, because it's something that it's not going to change. But a lot of times when you talk about predicting each person's future, there's so much that goes into that, like free will. Got off the topic there, guys. Okay. But we have a lot of special abilities coming out. Like there's people who can read auras. There are people who can, read palms. There are people who can read people, just their empath, the power of the empath, right? And so as the list grows on, whatever it is, there's so many things that we have going on in life that are coming to fruition and that are being put on blast, I guess is the best way to put it. And they're coming from a place now of when somebody was like this, like they would consider them a witch in the past, or they would consider them a wizard or a warlock, or they would get burned at the stake, or moving into modern day, they would get put in the insane asylum and things like that. And this would create a situation of resistance. And so that resistance gets passed on. And that resistance gets put into almost everybody. It's very much a societal belief, a construct that has been created. And if any of you guys are developing your own gifts, whatever they are, I mean, I've seen people like have gifts that you would never even imagine. Right? There's grand manifestors. There's people who can tell you who your soulmate is going to be. There's people who can tell you who, when you're going to die. Like, I mean, there's all these things that come out. And also, too, please be leery and weary of the people who are doing it just to get a cent off of you, which is why I don't offer personal readings right now, okay? This is a totally other topic for another discussion, but I just want to mention here, just being aware. Being aware of people who are just trying to get your money and people who aren't being genuine in their own abilities. But let's get back to that. Let's talk about people who don't believe you, who don't support you. What I've realized is that what happens is the reason that people don't want to support another person that's on this journey or support another person that has some sort of ability is because of jealousy. Because they themselves don't possess something like that, or they themselves don't see their own unique ability. The truth of the matter is that we're all capable of these things. We're all capable of having these amazing, amazing abilities. And some of us are just gifted with the ability right off the bat without going through training or without having to build the skill. And, some of us like empaths, I think a lot of other empaths are jealous of certain empaths because they have such a unique ability. They can feel everything and they want to be the one that feels everything, but they're so out of tune with themselves that they're not able to feel. Okay? And so this is what happens a lot when you have somebody that doesn't believe in you. You end up getting this feedback, right? This negativity. They'll say whatever they want to say so they can hurt you, so that they can deter you, so that they can make sure that you don't go on your journey. Because if you go on your journey, that just points out the inadequacies in their own life. And you have to understand that when somebody's not supporting you, and this is why I say, this was the hardest lesson for me to learn, because all my life I really believed that what other people thought of me was what I must have been. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. And so if somebody doesn't believe in you and they don't want to support you, you have to understand that in no way, shape, or form is a reflection on your own ability or who you are or what it is that you have to offer. Let that sit in for just a second. You were chosen to bring something unique to the world. Whether you take a similar journey as someone else or if you create your own path, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Because you were created to bring something so unique to help inspire this world to be their own unique self. But sometimes we get so used to what society says that we have to fit in. We have to wear the same clothes. We have to wear the same shoes. We have to get the same shirts. We have to wear the same underwear. We have to wear the same socks. We have to wear the same whatever. We have to have the same house. We have to have the same car. We have to have the same bank account. We have to have the same this. We have to do the same that. You have to have the same kind of job. That's inaccurate. And the truth of that shows in people who have beat the society belief, right? Like people who are wealthy or people who have made a name for themselves, especially people now in this journey of positivity, in this journey of the law of attraction and the journey of vibration. Right? You see that a lot now. There are a lot of people who are doing things that 30 years ago they would have been considered crazy and probably locked up. Okay, like I cannot tell you how many times I have been told that I was crazy by how many people. And I realized that the only reason people were telling me that I was crazy is because how could I know? How could you know that? And I've heard that too. How could you know that? And then I love people who ask that, how could you know that? And then they deny it right away. Okay, so anybody that understands that, you get it. Okay, you get it. It happens. It's just something that happens. And I feel like we have to be tested for these abilities. Like with great responsibility comes great sacrifice. Okay, not to be too cliche here, but that's the truth. We have to sacrifice so much in order to even display these abilities. And part of that comes from learning to overcome those relationships, those situationships, and those connections that we thought were for us. And we have to leave those people behind. We have to leave that situation behind. We have to leave that home behind. We have to leave it behind, whatever it is. And for the empath, okay, and I keep focusing on empaths, but I feel like a lot of people who even start this journey are really empathic, and some of you aren't as much as the others, and some of you are more than the others, so it doesn't matter. Wherever you fall out, you know. Okay, you know. But I feel like what happens is that because they're empaths, they feel the guilt from the other person, and you're wondering, is that my own guilt? Do I feel guilty about doing this? Do I feel guilty about loving myself? Do I feel guilty about going my own road? And I bet if you weren't near that person when you decided to do it, you wouldn't feel any of those things at all. You might feel doubt, and that's natural. But I want to point out guilt because I feel like what happens when people don't support us, the very first emotion that comes up is guilt. And what we have to understand is that oftentimes the reason that you're feeling guilt is because you're becoming a trigger. Everybody is a trigger for another person, okay? Like, it doesn't matter. in this life, you're sent to trigger someone else. Someone was sent to trigger you. And the more that we embrace this knowledge, the better it will be, the easier we'll be able to navigate our own lives. But so think about that. You decide to really chase your dream, and you decide to do what you want to do, and you decide to just do you, and you go for it and you run for it. And then suddenly you feel this extreme guilt hit you because you're telling somebody else that you trust about it. And you're like, why do I feel guilty all of a sudden? Do I feel guilty that I might have to leave this person behind? No, what you're feeling is the guilt of the other person because they feel guilty for not honoring themselves. So how do we overcome this? How do we overcome dealing with these people? Oftentimes, you have to be okay with just letting it go, letting them go, knowing that they might not be there with you on the journey. And I think that that's hard because people have lifelong friends that will do this. And then suddenly they'll stop chasing their dream because a lifelong friend just basically told them really rudely that it would never work. Is that fair? Is that fair that someone would tell you that you're crazy? Is that fair that someone would tell you that your dreams aren't going to work? Is that fair? And in life, I know life isn't fair. Fair? Fair isn't a word where I come from. You know, there's this image that I'm really brought to right now, and it's interesting because I really love this. It's from a show. I'm not ready to mention what show. It's for those of you that know, I'm glad you know. And maybe I brought this up. I think I brought it up in a pick a card reading. There's this dad that's talking to his two boys. And he's talking to his two boys about faith. And one of the boys, they're fishing, and one of the boys took all the worms and there was no worms left. And the other boy was like, but he took all the worms, like, how am I supposed to fish? And the dad says, you have to have faith. If you don't think you're going to catch a fish, then you won't. But if you think you will, that's faith. And so the boy that had no worms, he looked at his dad and he goes, okay. And he casts out his line. And he just waits and he waits and he's just like happy, and you could just tell in his head, he's like, I know something's going to happen. Like, I just know. And all of a sudden he catches a fish, and the other boy's like, that's not fair. And the dad turns around and he looks at him and he says, fair? What is fair? That's faith. So because you have faith and another person does not, are you going to let that other person determine what your faith is? Are you going to let that other person determine your life because they don't have it? What is fair? When faith is in play, nothing is fair because the only thing that matters is faith. So I extend this to you to just take a look at the relationships in your life. And if you really are dealing with people who are vocal and verbally abusive because you choose to try and obtain your dreams, remember, nothing in life is fair. But when you have faith, you have everything you need. And people are like, but I'm not religious. No, faith isn't a religion. Faith is just trusting that what you ask for is already yours and knowing that it'll come. Like the boy with the fish. He didn't have any worms. He just had faith he was going to catch something, and he did. And it ended up being a huge fish. So I encourage you guys to find faith on your journey and understanding that if somebody else is coming at you with their own insecurities, not to take that on because that's not you and it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with how they feel and the turmoil that's going on inside of themselves. And this is what's really helped me on this journey, because there are people out there who will tell you really nasty things. There are people out there who will make you feel like you're the worst person in the world just for trying to be better. And if they do that, then they're not for you. And even if they've been there for your entire life and they do that, can you be okay with letting them go? This is what I have for you guys. Please like this video, share this video, subscribe to my channel, set that notification bell. And I love you guys. I'm sending out light and love. And until next time, go forth boldly, my fellow creators, and courageously find creative ways to rise above in life, laughter, and love. Becky's out of the house for now, but until next time, peace out. I love y'all. Bye.